What's up?
How's it
We're
going?
here for another episode of the WPG Clark podcast. And we are with...
TravisT.
How you feeling today?
I'm feeling very good.
Why don't you tell the people who you are real quick? What do you do?
I'm TravisT, if you haven't heard of me yet. And I'm part of Lost Souls. Shout out Lost Souls. I'm an artist. I make my own music. I record other people. I own a studio.
When did you first get into music and stuff like that?
First time I ever got into music was when my mom got me into piano. I got into piano lessons when I was really young.
How old were you at the time?
I think I was 8 or 7 or right around that age.
Oh, okay.
Definitely under 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
After 5, before 10.
Yeah, so I was kind of learning how to move around and properly and everything like that.
Interesting, yeah. And it was piano first?
Yeah, piano first, and then from there I went into the concert band at school, because then it was
going into
grade
middle school.
6 into middle school and everything like that. Yeah, so now I was playing trombone, which I actually really enjoy doing all the concert band stuff and everything like that. I did trombone, and then I went to the percussion with all the xylophones and timpani and snare drum. Yeah, all the drums and everything like that.
Nice. And did that kind of introduce you into drumming?
Oh yeah. Because then I went into from piano lessons I went into drum lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then from drum lessons I was a drummer for the school jazz band and everything. And,
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I really like that because we got to go to Chicago.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, we got to go to Banff for it. We got to go to Edmonton.
Okay.
Yeah, so we got to go to a lot of places.
So, at the time, were you really getting drawn into drumming, just as a whole, with all genres of music and kind of everything?
Not so much anything with a deep bass kind of I really like the trombone because the trumpets and everything. It's kind of the higher pitch and everything. But but then the tuba and all that was too low for me.
Okay.
So yeah, anything with a nice steady low bass line and stuff, I always vibe with.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What kind of music were you listening to really early on? What are your first real memories of music?
Oh, man, the first real memory of music. It's my mom was listening to Shania Twain all the time.
Okay.
Remember Shania Twain?
Yeah, my mom was all about the Dixie Chicks.
Yeah, that kind. My mom and I remember I would always just be listening to it and dancing around and stuff like that.
Okay.
But the first music that I remember listening to, personally, I think was I want to say Green Day and Simple Plan and Billy Talent, Blink 182, 3 Days Grace. And all those kind of, you remember those guys, rock band type deals?
Man, I grew up, in a rock and roll household. My dad was a musician.
And they're not, rock and roll so much, but, kind of the early 2000s.
That's
rock
the new age rock, kind
of.
That stuff was definitely, really influential on my life, too, because growing up around it, since it was the thing going on at the moment, I was like, this is super sick.
Green Day came to Winnipeg and everything.
Yeah, did you go to their show?
My brother did.
Yeah. Were you super hyped on it? You were like, how was it?
I was so mad. I wanted to go. Yeah, but I was too young. I was I think I was 7 years old at the time.
Oh,
so that's why I wasn't allowed to go. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What was your first concert?
First concert I went to was Mac Miller.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it's
Blue Slide Park.
I think he came twice.
Yeah.
But it was the first time he came.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was I'm so glad I got to see it.
I remember that was around the time Peter Takis was putting on all those shows and stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
And that was your first show. What was your favorite concert you've been to?
Favorite concert I've ever been to. It wasn't one single concert, but it was a festival. It was Shambhala. And have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, dude. What was that like? Give us the rundown.
Man, it was the craziest.
How did you go about wanting to go there?
Honestly, I had this one buddy named Brandon Cox, and he just messaged me one day, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna buy you a ticket to Shambhala," and I'm just okay, I'm not. And then, so we bought it and everything like that, and then out of nowhere, time just came out of nowhere, and then we're just out of nowhere, where it's well, we gotta go to Shambhala tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we had this random guy from Ontario pick us up because he was on it. We were in a Facebook group for Shambhala, rides and everything like that. And we're hey, can
people
someone
that were driving through?
Yeah. So he picked us up. And then when he picked us up, he's like, "Hey, just so you guys know, it's like I've been going for like 5 years. If you want to stick with me, I got a camp where new people go to. It's called Camp Stranger Danger."
Ooh, damn.
Yeah. And then so we're like, "Yeah, fuck it. Let's just go see what it's all about and everything."
Yeah. But getting back kind of on track about the music thing, what was like the first piece of music that you ever like composed like writ or composed like yourself?
The first piece of music that it was like probably 2 years ago now. It was a song called Sunny D with my buddy Tyler Husalis. Shout out Tyler Husalis. And we were in my apartment and we had like a booth in my closet. And with just like the blankets surrounding it and everything like that. And he produced the whole beat. And then, it was the first song I ever wrote. Because I always used to, like, write songs just, like, YouTube and everything like that. YouTube beats. But then I actually, like, sat down on the beat and wrote it. And, like, considering our experience, it wasn't properly done and everything like that. Like, it was just so loud and, like, distorted. Like, you know what I mean?
The mastering was, like, completely off.
Yeah. But when I still listen to it, I'm still like, I love this song. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, like, a memory thing. You know what I mean? But,
for sure.
And, it was just, it took us probably like 3 months to do the whole song, which is like absolutely ridiculous. But
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's a very long time to do a song. But
so what was the whole process like making it? Like you were just there while he was making
the beats, and like the problem is like I think we were drinking so much. Like we were like 19, 20, just out of high school, so that's when like we were partying all the time and everything like that, and like we. This is when I was just starting with the program, so I didn't exactly even know how to, like... It took me, like, 3 days to figure out even how to record properly.
What was
and
the
everything.
program?
FL Studio.
Okay.
Yeah. But now I'm, like, I know it properly and everything like that, and, like, if I'm having a good day, I can, like, write a song in the morning and have it, like, recorded by the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. So where did it, like, really go from there? Did you guys just... You finished the track and uploaded it, and then you were just really happy with it, so you wanted to keep pursuing it kind of thing?
We kind of like promoted it for like a month or something like that while we were making it and everything like that. Okay. And then when we uploaded it, we weren't really like expecting too much or anything. And even the plays that we got, it's not like a crazy amount of plays. But then like within like 4 or 5 days, it got to like 1,500 plays on SoundCloud. Or no, sorry, like 1,000 plays on sound, somewhere in between 1,000 and 1,500.
Oh, okay.
And then we're just like, okay, like that. It was just really fun sitting there and just like seeing all the, and even like besides that, it was just like, it was really fun just making music.
Yeah,
you know,
and then
like,
seeing like a good reaction to like
and the finished product and everything like that, like. And then seeing, like, connecting with other people that I never was talking to before. And they're like, oh, hey, I see you're making music. Like, we should talk and stuff like that. So, like...
Okay. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of, like, took off from there.
Yeah, it was just kind of like I was doing it slowly, not really thinking about it too. I was working in restaurants at the time. And kind of just, like, whenever I wasn't working in restaurants, I was kind of just, like, partying and, like... But partying and working in the studio and, like, working on music type thing, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden... It started, like, we released, like, 4 or 5 songs, and then I was starting to, like, have people reach out to me, being like, hey, I, like, really like your music and everything.
Okay.
Yeah, and then when I...
That kind of motivated you.
Yeah,
like, really
and I always wanted to, like, be making music. Like, I've always, like, enjoyed making music, like, all the way back from band class and stuff like that.
Of course.
This is just, like, how I can do it in my own way.
Definitely. Who were your, like, musical influences early on?
Early on? Like
who were you really listening to? Like, you mentioned a few, but... Who would you say like really stood out off the hop?
One influence that I didn't listen to, but that got me really into music was my band teacher, Mr. Botch, and he was just like always like driving us like every single day, go home and like listen to music, whether or not it'd be like classical music or practice music and everything, and pick up instruments besides the ones we were doing. But then artists that I would listen to I was like looking up to would be like. Eminem. I love Eminem. Dr. Dre. At the time when I was really even like Travis Scott a lot of the time. Meek Mill.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who would you say are like your influences now?
influence now, honestly, it's like I want to say kind of the more like serious rapper, like the more melodic rappers and stuff
Okay.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just because I don't like the too much like trap stuff anymore.
Yeah,
I
like
like
not
them.
too like drill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The most honestly, like I haven't been really listening to like
Other people's
mainstream
music?
music too much anymore. I've just been listening to like mostly
Local?
Winnipeg artists and stuff, and
No,
the
that's
people that
awesome.
I'm like mixing their music and stuff. But um, yeah, honestly, it's mostly just like the melodic rap I'm really into at the moment. Because I was for so long I was doing like the party music,
Mm-hmm.
and now I don't really party anymore at all.
So you feel like it doesn't really suit
It
you?
doesn't resonate with me at all.
Okay.
Like even when I'm like sometimes when I'm like when I was finding myself writing the lyrics, and I was just like I don't even do this stuff anymore. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I'm like why am I even saying this? But then
Interesting, yeah.
hmm
Um,
I have started switching it up now though. Like the guys in Lost Souls know I have more different sound now.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. It just proves versatility.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want as well.
What's it like when you're like in the booth or even just trying to create something? Like where do you kind of get your inspiration and then you're like, okay, I'm making this.
Usually it's when I have a really good session with someone the night before. And then like
Okay.
as I'm like we might be up to like 3 a.m. and I'm like I'm so motivated. I'm like, man, I really want to work right now, but I'm so tired.
Yeah.
So then I just tell myself, I'm like, okay, as soon as I wake up tomorrow, I'm gonna wake up, go on YouTube, find a beat, and then just like keep on just going through beats till something pops out at me.
Something strikes you.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess yeah, working on a day-to-day basis with all these artists, that's kind of where you like get influence from for your
That's
own
exactly
music.
it. Yeah.
No, that's good because it's taking like the work ethic and the style of others and everything and just kind of using that to make your own motivation and
Yeah.
drive. That's
And when I'm
great.
seeing other Winnipeg artists do make really good music and everything, then like obviously I want to be doing in like a competitive kind of not like but like a friendly competition. You know
Yeah,
what I
of
mean? Like
course. Of course. So what's it like now when you're creating music? You like write lyrics a lot of the time and then kind of look for a beat, or do you find that beat first and then
yeah.
keep listening to it and then start to write something?
Normally I find the beat
Yeah.
and then what I'll do is I'll just keep listening to it over and over again and just start humming stuff.
Yeah.
And then whenever I find like kind of a humming melody that I like, then I'll keep on humming it over and over again, and then try and form words around that.
Okay.
Just because before what I would do is I would literally write lyrics and then like
Then try and like make
just
a
rap it
flow
out.
to
Yeah,
it, to a
yeah,
beat.
not like really sing it or anything like that too much. And
You were trying to manipulate the words to fit something.
yeah.
Like it wasn't its natural housing.
So normally when I'm like at this point, when I start making a song, I normally have like something I want to think like talk about or something like that.
Okay.
Mhm.
How do you kind of get that? How do you get that inspiration and like?
So back in the day, it was kind of just like about partying and stuff like that. That's what I was saying. Like I was feeling like very unconnected to all the stuff I was rapping about.
Okay.
But now, the past like 5 or 6 songs, it's just been about stuff that's like really been on my mind over the past like couple years. But this has been like actual
Yeah.
serious stuff.
So you kind of use it as like an outlet to talk about things?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And would you find that it's like something that happened to you, how you're feeling about a situation or like something like that?
Mainly like big things that have happened to me in life. Yeah. Because before I like didn't know how to properly mix the music and everything, so I didn't want to make like a important song and then it just come out sounding like really like shit.
Yeah, okay.
So now that I felt like that I actually have the like experience to properly like not do everything like professional quality, you know, like
But where you're happy with it and you know it sounds
it's proper. Yeah.
good.
Yeah. And I'm doing this situation justice. You know what I mean? Like what I'm talking about, I'm giving it good justice. And then once I figure out the hook, that's when I like it's really easy because once you got the hook, it's pretty much like you just got to write a verse, which is like
Would you find that it like just comes natural to you after that?
Yeah, verse is just like you're pretty much just like talking to yourself, more direct,
Okay.
which is like it's more easy for me to just like. It's almost like you're writing a diary or something. Like it sounds really weird, but like you're
Yeah.
just writing your emotions, but you're just trying to figure out how to write it in a proper sentence that sound. It's
Like a
almost like it's
structured sentence.
poetry. Like we all did poetry in like high school
Yeah,
or
language
in
arts class,
English
yeah.
class. Yeah, like it's very much like poetry, where like writing hooks was more like songwriting, if that makes sense. Like,
Okay.
but yeah, I've been the past couple songs have been way more actual deep stuff rather than just partying, and I almost can't write about partying anymore.
Yeah.
Hmm.
What track would you say you're like most proud of right now that just like you think you got your message across, you were really able to air yourself out?
There was one where my buddy passed away probably 2 years ago from it was a shooting that happened in Corona, at Bar I. Do you remember when that happened?
Oh yeah, I was working at Bar I at the time. Cause I used to be a cook as well.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's crazy. You were working at when the shooting happened?
Not when it happened.
Okay, word.
But like
Yeah.
around the time
Yeah.
it happened.
Yeah, so I was on the patio when that happened. And
Wow.
yeah, and I was a cook as well. So
Okay.
I worked with that guy at the gates
Oh.
probably like 5 years prior. And since we
Interesting.
were always at Bar I together, we were
Yeah.
like, we'd always like fuck
You'd
around. with
conversate
yeah,
and, like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And I like seen that happen and everything. And then like, yeah, that's why. And then when I was making all the partying stuff, I like didn't want to just make like that type of vibe of song about it. You know what I mean? Like all
Yeah.
loud and everything like that.
Exactly.
But I made this song with DK and Peso,
Yeah.
like they're featuring on it, and it's like perfectly encaptures. Like it's
Okay.
like exact. And I showed my girlfriend, and she's just like, this is my favorite song that you've ever made.
That's
Like,
awesome.
easy, yeah.
And would you say that hearing that from her kind of contributed to it being your favorite?
Yeah, that's what kind of
song
made, because
yourself?
at first I wasn't sure about it. I'm like, I don't
Mhm.
even know if this is proper, like all the singing and everything like
Yeah.
that. But right away, she's like, this is easily the best song. you've
Because
ever
she
made.
was was she with you when you were grieving with that and dealing with it all?
We were talking and everything like that.
Exactly. So she
Yeah.
was there.
Yeah,
And she kind
she
of
knew how the impact that it had on me and everything.
Well, she could see that emotion at the time put into the emotion of the
Yeah.
song, probably.
Mhm.
No, that's awesome. Big shout out to all the girlfriends out there. man.
Yeah, exactly. And I even had this one buddy. He knew me when it happened, and he knew my music when I was making it, and he said when I showed it to him, he looked at me and he's like, "I'm so glad you made a song about this now rather than a year and a half ago or 2 years ago."
Oh, okay.
And I was just like, "Yeah, I get that 100%."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's almost like one of those too soon situations.
Exactly. Yeah.
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 What would you say is your favorite song, like, making that you had the most, like, fun on?
Most fun. It was song making the song called "Degenerates 2." Because after I made that song Sunny D, that first song that I told you about, I made this song called Degenerates
Okay.
with the same guy, Tyler. And it was
Yeah.
just like a really rough put together song and like not properly, like it was, I fuck with the song a lot, but it's not properly song structured at all. There's no hook verse. It's just like we're spitting.
Okay.
So we just kind of called it Degenerates just because it's like a degenerate type SoundCloud
Yeah.
song. And then, so once we actually got into more of the music and everything, like a year and a half later, we decided to make a song called Degenerates Part 2 because we know that we could
interesting.
carry it out better and everything.
Yeah.
And we didn't even decide to make it. I was just like kind of sitting there playing a beat one day, and I was just like going to it.
You were
spitting
feeling
some
it,
stupid
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, and then the buddy sitting next to me, he's just like, yo, let me get in on this. And then right there, we just wrote the whole song. I don't
Okay.
know if we recorded that night and everything, but it was just such a quick process.
That's how it all started.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we got my other buddy who he'd rap like on one other song, one of our other previous first songs, and
Yeah.
then he was there at the same time too. And he was just sitting there and he seen that we were working together on it and everything, and then he's like, "Yo, can I get on this too?" And then all of it was just like a really, and the song's like one of my favorite songs too.
Yeah. Who would you say is your favorite person to make music with?
Favorite person to make music with? That's such a hard.
Where the energy is just there, it's easy, you guys understand each other. Because you definitely make music with lots of artists
That's the thing.
on a daily basis.
Yeah. a group of people that I have probably the best click with is DK Peso and Lido and Kuzi.
Okay.
Because when they come for like an 8-hour session, we've done like 5 or 6 songs in a row.
Oh, you guys are just banging them out.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And another person I really enjoy working with is Miazwe, because he's very just like punch. Like we're just like working. You know what I mean? We got like 17 or 20 songs done in like the first month that we were working together.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Another person I really enjoy working Mooks and George Roblin, they're really good guys to work with, really easy to work with. And then another guy for sure is Princey. Have you ever heard of Princey?
I've heard the name. Yeah, I don't think I've met him.
Were you at the New York shoot? I was.
No, I wasn't.
Shit, he was at the New York shoot, but no, you gotta meet Princey one day. He's very talented. I think he's 18 or 19, but he just goes in the booth and just freestyles everything.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and he's got like a voice like kind of like Young Thug, NBA Youngboy.
Oh, kind of like an in between.
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. And honestly though, like everyone that I've worked with so far, I've like genuinely enjoyed working with. Like Winnipeg is very lucky to have like very artists that are all like talented, but they don't have like big heads and everything like that.
Yeah. Everybody really cares for one another. They're not trying to shit on anybody.
No. A lot of times in the studio, when one client is coming in and another client's already there, they've never met each other before, but they're like two bigger artists in the city, and then when they're talking, they're like, yo, we should do a song together and everything like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you kind of like you help bring them together almost.
I don't want to say that, but like a lot of people
you definitely contribute to it.
At the studio, it's a big meeting ground for like a lot of people that wouldn't be meeting otherwise. For maybe not wouldn't be meeting, but it would have taken them a lot longer to meet each other.
Is there anybody like in the city that you would want to make something with that you don't know how to like reach out to them?
Yeah, definitely. There's like certain artists in the city that I want to work with, but I just personally don't think I know their quality music, and I don't know if my quality music's at the same level. So that's like pretty much it's not even that I don't even know how to approach it. I just want to approach them like at a later point when my experience is like higher up. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, even a whole point of working together is they can have their production team kind of help you with your production on it too.
But one of my main things is like if I'm ever reaching out to offer like to work with someone, is I want to bring value to them.
Of course,
that's the number one thing.
Definitely.
So like I gotta figure out how and which way can I bring them value.
Yeah, you want to benefit them.
Yeah, because I can't just reach out to them and be like, hey, do you want to work on like your production team? They can all like help me and everything like that. You know what I mean? Like, which is like why I'm trying like every day I'm watching videos on like how to get better at mixing and stuff like that, and why I have the studio where they can like, if they ever need a space, can come and record music. And
do you have any like pet peeves with clients coming in and doing certain things?
Yeah, just making a mess and just not cleaning it up. It's just like simple
garbage.
You know what I mean? Like
classic.
And that's just like not even if that wasn't at my studio. Like I own an apartment and people would come there and like make a mess and just like not clean it up. And it's just like it's simple. You know what I mean? Like that's like a number one thing.
Would you say that there's something that like artists can do to contribute that definitely helps to the session? Like if all their verses are already written, like something. That's
number one. That's a huge thing. Like if you're coming and
you're sitting there on the couch and writing the whole time.
Yeah, that's not a problem for me. Like but the thing is like
that's what you want to pay.
That's how you're spending your money. Yeah. And then like if you spend 2 hours writing your song and then 2 hours recording it, and then all of a sudden you think that you've spent 4 hours at the studio. So you're technically spending like $200 or something like that. You're like, okay, I should have something really good. But realistically, you only have like 2 hours of recording work. Where if you walked in and got 4 hours worth of recording work done, then you'd probably feel like you got way more like value for your money. So I always tell people, I'm like, even if you're with a group of people, sit at home, write out your songs, practice it with each other and everything like that. Yeah. So then when you guys are showing up to the studio.
Correct.
Yeah, and it's just like walking and like. It's just like, yeah, exactly it. Like, and I don't care if anyone wants to like use the studio space as a place to like write their music and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
But like I know how it is as an artist. We all don't have money pouring out of our pocket for
Definitely,
stuff
yeah.
like that. So like, I always want to encourage the artists to like get the most bang for their buck. Because I've been the artist that's like trying to get the most bang for their buck. And I want them to be happy with the experience that they had at the studio as well. And they're not going to be happy if they come and spend like a couple $100 and then have nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Definitely. Where did the idea come from to even begin this whole journey?
I had a studio in South Osborne, right by the transit station, if you know where that is,
Yeah,
and everything
yeah.
like that.
On like the McDonald's side, or still on the
Opposite side of McDonald's. It's where that big blue building is, or orange building and everything like that. If you know Mulvey.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I
And-
used to go to UR.
Man, it's in
Yeah.
that building. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because every Saturday night I'd be working on music and it would just be like, doom, doom.
Yeah, you
doom,
just hear
doom,
it.
doom.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so I was in there, and I was just kind of like the room was like literally probably the size. If you cut away your whole kitchen, if you cut away everything else, it was like the size of what we're sitting in right here. So you could
Okay.
fit like 6 people in there, and it was like dingy. There was like no windows. It smelled like mold. And like it was just there's rock bands everywhere. So when you're trying to work on music, you just be like
Yeah, I remember hearing that. Yeah.
yeah,
Wesley.
and then so then I was just when coronavirus hit, and I was you heard the pot. I was just literally looking on Kijiji, and I was just like I didn't want to go back to work at CN because I just really was like the money was good and everything like that, but
Yeah.
it was like working 20-hour days and everything like
And
that.
at this point, were you really getting into making
That's
music
exactly.
like
I was
that?
like every single day when I was at CN, all I could think about was going home and working on music.
Okay.
Like, all day, and then when I was like, man, it was almost like a blessing. It was like, they're like, the world was just like, okay, you have to stay home, and we're gonna give you $2,000 a month, and it was just like, okay, like you
Say less.
yeah, everyone,
Yeah.
everyone had 2 like paths at that time, and it was like you can spend that money, or you can like turn it into something productive, and like
Yeah.
I truly feel like I did something productive with it, like.
Definitely.
And I just like my number one goal at the beginning of the lockdown was to come out on the other side where I didn't have to go back to work. And like, even if I have to go back to work to like 1 day a week, I actually since I was collecting CERB, I do actually have to go back to work for just because technically
The
if
minimal amount.
yeah,
Like,
if you refuse to go back to work, then you have to give back the CERB payments and everything like that.
Okay.
So I think I have to get a job for like 2 days or something, and I'm either just gonna depending how everything's going, I'm either just gonna work 1 day a week for like 2 months or something like that.
Well, maybe you could even arrange something where, like, through the business.
That's exactly because
you
I'm
can just pay back if they want, or whatever.
or even like
just say this
if
is
I'm,
what I do
that's
now.
what I'm doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because how could like that's the same thing as getting it, if
Yeah,
not better.
Yeah,
like,
you're still gonna be paying
now
taxes.
I'm contributing to the economy.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Well, either way, I'm contributing to the economy, but.
Yeah. So what is the studio? Just for those who don't know, just explain it all.
The studio is a place where me and Nona Apparel have linked up, and basically in the back of the building, it's all music creation and everything like that. We got like the booth set up, we got the computer set up, and then at the front of the building, it's more of a clothing store, fashion store. So if you need custom anything made, custom jacket made, a Nona set up there with his sewing machine. And then we're going to be selling a bunch of local brands. We want, like, a big amount of the customer base is to be the artists that I'm having in to record. They're just going to be, like, buying the clothing that Nona is, like, making and presenting from other people and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, definitely. So you mentioned the story of how you guys met in Wesley's podcast, but for those who haven't seen it, why don't you give a quick rundown on how that even came about?
So I was shooting a music video one day at the Forks Parkade, and Nona, I was in the middle of shooting the shot. I see this guy looking at me, and I was kind of thinking like, oh, this guy's probably like, oh, this is just a Winnipeg rapper, all this, all that. And then when I stopped shooting, he walked up to me and he's like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, pretty good. How are you?
Yeah. And just kind of hit it off.
Yeah, hit it off, and then he's like, you should wear one of my tracksuits in your video. And then literally just from there, we kept on contacting each other. talking to each other back and forth. And then when I got into the studio, I was thinking, I'm like, who can I invite that's like a good, positive person
Okay.
who's like minded, wants to start a business and everything.
Well, and it provides more versatility to the space.
Exactly.
Because not only music, now it becomes fashion.
A fashion store, yeah. And now also I want to do my own clothing brand and stuff like that.
Okay.
So now Nona's just like really helping me with that as well.
Really pushing you and giving you
like
the drive to start
Nona
doing
made
it.
this T-shirt right here.
Very nice.
Didn't actually make it, but he did the whole carrying out of ordering and everything like that,
Yeah,
and making
and
sure it was proper. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were eventually gonna expand your own, like bringing the studio to the front of the space kind of thing.
Yeah, like, and then I always wanted to bring a Nona into the. I always like as much as I can. I try and bring a Nona into the artist space. Like every artist that comes through, I'm always suggesting like, if you want apparel done, I'm like, make sure you contact a Nona. I'm
like a stylist for a shoot.
I always tell them like, and even just like if you want to start your own clothing brand for like your own artist like side, do merchandise. I'm like, make sure you talk to a Nona.
Okay.
That's what I always, because I want a Nuna to be like the fashion designer for like musicians and artists in the city. You know what I mean?
You're always like, I got a guy.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So then from there, you how did you go about like getting the space? You were just cruising Kijiji and all that kind of stuff for a while?
Yeah, I was just like laying in bed, and I was just like, I was working so much, so I was okay. I'm just gonna lay in bed for like 2 days, and I was literally just like going through Kijiji for like 2 days straight.
Yeah.
And then literally looked through like probably 60 pages of Kijiji ads. And then I just seen this one thing that said prime Charleswood location. And I said, yeah, I grew up in Charleswood. So I like opened it up, not really expecting much. Seeing that it was like 5 minutes away, messaged a guy to meet up. Yeah. And then literally like a week later, I was like moving in and everything.
Damn.
Yeah.
So you hopped on it right away.
Right, because I knew like for the price and everything like that. And when I seen it, I was like, someone's gonna, and then literally like a week after I bought it, I walked into the store one day, the other owner's store that owns a building, and there was some guy standing in there, and he's like, oh, this guy hates you. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, he just came in and he tried to be renting the store because he wanted to start a dispensary.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was gonna use the space to do a dispensary instead.
Yeah.
And he's just joking.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Do you get along with your neighbors well? In the new space?
Yeah. The only neighbor is the owner of the building, and he's an insanely nice guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does he ever like just have funny looks? All these rappers coming in and out.
He likes it. He because he can hear the music. He can hear the music sometimes when he's there from like because he leaves at like 3:00 or something like that. But sometimes I still have people there.
Yeah.
But he'll hear the music. Then sometimes he'll walk in and be like, "Yeah, it's sounding really good today."
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, he likes it a lot.
And he definitely probably sees so many different clients coming in and out. He's like, "Oh, they're actually doing something over there."
And the building before, I live in the area, and it's like I've never seen anybody walking into the building.
Oh, okay.
Like, because it's just like really like it's like an older like female clothing store that he owns.
Yeah.
So I only ever see like 10 different people going in there.
Oh, nice.
So he's probably just like happy to have a variety of people coming in there.
Yeah, kind of changing up the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So then, when you first like opened up and everything, did you just start like advertising right away, like studio space? Anybody needs to come record, like.
I've been working with I've been talking to Max already, like kind of just back and forth and everything like that.
Yeah.
And then when he seen the studio space, and I've been talking like a lot of different artists in the city, but never anything concrete. And then Max was like, yeah, can we come check out the studio space and everything like that? Come meet you. And then, literally just right from there, that's when I met, like, DK, Lido, Kuzi, Peso.
And were they your first clients ever there?
I don't remember, like, I was there for probably, like, a month. My first client, I can't even...
Or were they existing clients from your Osborne location?
I never had any client at an Osborne.
Oh, that was just you?
Yeah,
like
that was
you and
only
your friends?
If anyone ever wanted to come work, then they'd come work, but I wouldn't charge them or anything like that.
Yeah, and then, like, would you say that you even really brought that many people around there?
Almost none.
Yeah,
like,
it was mostly your space.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it was so small. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I probably only brought, like, four different artists there.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I did just start posting on Instagram and stuff like that, being like, if any of my artists need a place to record, then hit me up.
Nice.
And then over time, I started just getting DMs from random artists that I didn't even know were in the city.
Word of mouth. Yeah, people were talking about it.
And then when I'd go to if I'm like talking to somebody or something like that, I'd mention that I have a studio, and they'd be like, "Oh, there's so many musicians in Winnipeg now. It's insane."
Tons.
Like, yeah. And then, but Instagram was probably like the biggest thing for me.
Yeah. And would you say that you want to mainly just cater to like singers and easy vocal kind of things, or would you like to get into like hosting bands even and all that kind of stuff?
That would probably, I would mainly just like doing vocals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just because I don't want to like overcomplicate things with like whole bands.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
like I know I just like I specialize in like for sure hip hop vocals.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's also just like the type of music that I enjoy listening to the most. So it's
Okay.
easy
So
for
you
me to
enjoy
work.
making it the most,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's easy for me to work on it for like 20 hours straight or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
and if I was working on like rock, like I enjoy rock music, but it's like it's not the same for me anymore.
Yeah, of course. It's
Yeah.
not like where your true passion is.
Yeah.
What does like the studio space cost you monthly to run and operate and have functioning 4 artists to come in?
Probably like all costs put together, it's probably close to like $1,700 to $1,800
Okay.
or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, but it's not like that's not horrible considering it's split between 4 people. It's like I used to pay $1,000 a month for an apartment.
Yeah.
So it was basically like sometimes my whole paycheck would just go right to rent. So it's like I
Okay.
already lived that life. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
So if I'm just paying like I think it's like a couple $100 that I'm paying, and like that's all that I want for a studio, because that's the main thing is I just want to pay a low amount of money. My main thing isn't to make money. That's not my end goal.
Yeah.
Even
You
though I
just
own a
wanna pay for the
business
space
and be able to
and
work
be able
on
to
music.
make crazy
Yeah,
shit
and work with the people that I want to work. And like if I'm not if what I'm making money in the end, which is great. But it's like that's never been my end goal.
You're not
know
gonna
what I mean?
rely on that as like an income.
Yeah, and I'm not even the type of person who's like I need like large amounts of money. Like honestly,
Yeah.
if I'm making music and I'm comfortable, like it's
You're
like
making music, you're eating, and you got a roof over your
roof
head.
over my head. I'm
You're good.
pretty good. Yeah.
Man, fuck this neighborhood.
First time having Whitney. Ooh.
So moving on next to like, what do you charge people to come through and record?
So, right now, if you're in Lost Souls, I only charge $25 an hour.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
almost promo to get people to join Lost Souls.
Yeah, man. Join Lost Souls.
Fuck yeah. No, that's sick.
And then if you're not in Lost Souls, it's $40 an hour,
Yeah.
which realistically isn't even too bad.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
That's actually still very good for a recording studio.
Mm-hmm.
There's some studios that charge like $200 an hour, $100 an hour.
Yeah.
And also, if you're in Lost Souls, I don't charge for a mix or master, because I'm probably working with you so much. If you're paying for every mix and master, then it's just going to be too much. And then, but if you're not in Lost Souls, and it's $30, I don't know if this is really confusing, but $30 for a mix and then $50 for a master,
Okay.
which is still like really good prices as well.
Yeah, definitely. And what's like the whole process like for people coming in if you've never worked with them or don't know them before? Just like something that they can kind of expect walking through the doors for the first time.
So realistically, the best thing to do is DM me like a week before you actually want to come to the studio.
Okay.
Because typically, if you message me like one day before, being like, "Hey, do you think I can come to the studio tomorrow?" I'll probably already have a session booked or something like that.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So it's always good just to message me ahead of time, make sure I got time and everything. And then normally first thing we do as soon as you walk in, it's just like we get to know each other first. Like I'm not just like, okay, let's get right into it.
Yeah,
You know
let's
what
get
I
right
mean?
to work.
Yeah,
you're
so
like-
we'll do
yeah.
the first 5 minutes, get to know each other and everything like that. And then I'll kind of ask them what their music vibe is, like the type of music they like listening to, and we'll kind of listen to a couple songs that they even like, so I
kind
get a
of
vibe.
see where their like characteristics are. And, like,
Yeah, what
what
if
they
they like
sound
rap,
like.
if they like the auto tune, if they like the melodic and everything like
okay.
that.
Yeah, you kind of get a profile.
Yeah, exactly. And then we listen to their beat, and then normally what I get them to do is sing it out loud like 2 or 3 times, just to get their vocal cords going and everything, and just
Okay.
get them warmed up. And then from there, I'll just be like, do you want to keep on chilling? But then basically, it's like, you're either paying it's like up to them. I'm like, you can either pay to keep chilling, or you can we can get to work. You know what I mean? Like,
but the clock starts from when you first like.
Normally the clock, I'm pretty lenient with that, because normally I say like, yeah, if you I'll be like, come by 2:00. And then if you walk in at 2:00, it's not like as soon as you walk in, I'm like starting the clock pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much as soon as I normally started as soon as you the very first time that you walk into the booth.
Okay.
Unless you're writing your song, and then if you start writing your song, then pretty much as soon as we start legitimate work, that's when I like start the time. I'll look at the clock and like write it down on a piece of paper.
Yeah. And for other services and stuff, like, let's say I'm an artist that likes writing lyrics and doing stuff like that, everything, but I don't exactly have beats. Is that something they can approach you for as well?
Yeah, I don't personally make the beats, but I'll be able to like get you on the right path, like help you find a beat, and like legally lease the beat, so you're able to like release it on Spotify and Apple Music and everything. Because I was like, not one thing I didn't know how to do when I was like first releasing music.
Yeah.
I just thought I did not know.
You got to clear the
I thought
samples.
I had to make my own beats. Yeah. I literally thought that's what it was. I thought every artist ever made their own beats.
Well, that's why I'm asking these questions for those people that don't know, you know?
Yeah. Like, so if any artist ever needed help I encourage them to like ask me like, what if any new artists, I'm like, please ask me on how I can help you.
Man, honestly, I feel like a lot of people are kind of like hesitant on asking questions like that. But honestly, when it comes to making music and being creative and things like that, in my opinion, no question is a dumb question.
No question. And
if you just genuinely don't know.
If you don't know, then you should ask. Yeah.
Like, don't think anybody's going to think any like less of you for it.
No. And it's like, I'd rather, like, I'm honestly the kind of guy where I'll ask, if I don't know anything, I'm not going to kind of just play it and be like, oh yeah, I know that. I'll
don't pretend you know everything too. Yeah, at the same time, yeah. That's a whole nother, like, realm.
Yeah. And I actually do one thing for, as well as free consulting on, like, career growth and stuff like that. So, like, if any artists are like, hey, how can I grow my social media? How can I do this? How can I, like, I'll literally sit down with you and, like, coach you on, like, how...
Give your opinion on things
how I can help you better. Yeah.
So, cheers, my friend.
To the goose.
Man, I always ask people, too, when was the first time you got drunk? Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's way younger than I should have been. I was, like, probably 11 or 12 years old.
Man, I think I was like 13 or something. So, I mean, it's not that bad.
Yeah. I remember I was at my lake and I was stealing my dad's Stone Cold and Lucky beers.
Okay,
yeah,
classic.
So it was just horrible.
So what were you doing? Like they were partying and then you just kind of like...
My brother was like 16, 17, so he was hanging with 18-year-olds. And I had one buddy that was 12 years old. And we were always just hanging around like all the 18-year-olds and shit like that.
Yeah.
So then naturally we're just like hanging at beach fires and stuff. So then we start drinking and everything like that.
Oh, because like, yeah, your older brother's bringing you around.
Not even bringing me around. It's like one of those things where I'm like, yo, you're my older brother.
I'm
probably annoying younger brother. And he's probably wishing I wasn't there and everything.
Man, I feel like I was the same with my older brother.
Yeah.
Because that's why we never really went to shit. Because he was like, nah.
No. Yeah. And then, but now me and my brother are the best of friends. Like,
nowadays we're homies. Yeah,
but now that we're older, but back in the day, it's just classic older brother, younger brother thing.
Yeah. So you were just like with them, and like they were giving you beers, kind of thing.
I think they were. No, me and my buddy, we had went around, and we had. This is really bad. But we were, like, breaking into people's sheds and stealing all their beers and stuff. I don't even know if I can say.
This was the first time you got drunk?
Yeah. I was taking my dad's beers and stuff like that.
Okay.
But we were also just very bad. I don't even know if you...
He does not condone to any of this shit.
Yeah. Yeah. But then I remember all of it. I was drinking, and I didn't realize it. Because I didn't know what drunk was. And then all of a sudden, I just, like, couldn't even stand...
Yeah, you're fucking flopping around.
Yeah. And then Woke up the next morning, and I remember just walked outside. We had like this sleeping shed because it was like it wasn't like a cabin. It was like a trailer park. It
Yeah,
was
you had like a bunkhouse
house
and like shit
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Me and my brother would either stay in there, or me and my buddy.
yeah.
And I remember I just walked outside, walked in there into the deck, and then just started throwing up everywhere.
Ooh,
Yeah.
so you were like hung as fuck.
Yeah.
Damn.
And then my mom and dad were just standing there, and they didn't even yell. They because I was just obviously so fucked. Like,
yeah. What were their reactions? Like, were they kind of cool with it? Were they
At
like,
first,
yeah, he's
they were
learning.
just like,
He's learning.
Yeah, it was just like they didn't do anything at first because obviously I was having such a bad time.
Yeah.
But then later on, they're like, they were mad. Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did you first start like smoking weed and shit like that? Do you remember your first time?
Yeah, that time I was like, I was so against weed. I was like, I thought I'd never smoked weed my whole life. And then
And here we are.
here we are, yeah. And then I remember for like 2 years, even after I started drinking, I never smoked weed. I would only drink.
Yeah.
And then I remember one of my buddies just randomly hit me up one day, and he was like, "Yo, you want to go smoke some weed?" I was just sitting there. I was like,
Was he like into that kind of shit?
He was into, and he was like one of only 2 people at our school that were into it. There was
Ooh.
only like 2 people, and they were like the potheads, and then everyone else was like, not.
But you were like really academically like focused.
That's when I was. Before,
How were you like?
At that point? That's you know what I mean. Like weed was the thing that switched me over to like.
How did it?
He was an
come
athlete.
Yeah, how did it come about where you guys became friends? It was through
So he was an
sports?
athlete. Yeah.
Okay,
and then he was
that
one of
makes
those
sense.
athletes that like was smoking weed at the same
Yeah,
time.
and
Yeah.
you just know him from sports practice, so you're
Yeah.
like, okay, he's a
I was
cool
like,
dude.
yeah,
like,
let's go smoke
start
some
hanging
weed.
out.
Yeah. And then we went to,
Okay.
you know, Robin Park by any chance? Community center? It's like a
Maybe.
skating rink. It's like really small and everything like that.
No,
But
that's like right by like Corden Village and shit like that, right?
No, that's Tuxedo, I think.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, but it's honestly the same vibe as that.
Okay.
But so we went there, sat on the fucking hockey benches, and we made a pipe out of a can, out of a Pepsi can, and like poked holes in it.
Classic.
Yeah, yeah, and then yeah, that was the first time I got high.
Kind of jumping back onto the subject of like your jobs, where all have you worked as a cook? I was a cook for like 6 years. Like I relate to.
Yeah,
this
I was
shit.
a cook for 7 years, man.
Ooh,
Cooking,
there we
I
go.
love cooking. Like
I was an aspiring chef.
you were. I genuinely was too. I was a head chef at the peak of my career.
Okay.
I was a head chef of a restaurant when I was the youngest head chef in Winnipeg actually.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's insane.
But so I started at Prairie Inc. When I was working at Prairie Inc., I was probably 15 years old, and I met a chef there, and he really like honed in my skills. He was like because like
He had faith.
I started there when I was he had faith in me 100%. I started when I was 15, and then when I was 17, I got kicked out of my parents' place. So then my chef knew about it, and that's like classic restaurant life. You know, you get 17, kicked out of my parents' place. You know what I mean? I'm a cook. Yeah. So the chef just like took me under his wing, and he just started teaching me. He's like, if you want to, he's like, I can pay you for 8 hours a day, but you can stay here for 16 hours a day and work on cooking. He's like, you have a full kitchen to like just do your stay safe in, don't go out and be on the streets and shit like that. Exactly that.
Okay.
Yeah. So then I started doing that, and for like a year and a half, I was working in that kitchen for probably like 16 hours a day straight up. As soon as I'm done my 8-hour shift on the line, I would go and clean the kitchen for like
And just kind of hang
do prep and do prep, yeah, and like get to know everybody and everything like that.
Okay. Interesting.
From there, I went to Black Rabbit on Osborne.
Ooh, okay.
You know that place?
Yeah, that was like the corner spot by Carlos
Yeah,
and
really
Murphy's.
nice place. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was working there, and then that's when at Prairie Inc. it was all nice people. All the cooks were like nice.
Yeah.
And then that's where I was introduced to like the asshole chefs and like cooks
The
and stuff like that.
alcoholic line cooks, the fucking drug
Yeah.
addicts, the idiots.
And if you fuck up, they'll like scream in your fucking face.
Yeah,
and
they'll
like,
yell.
Oh yeah, man. And like it was like, so that was a huge change for me because I thought I knew a lot because I knew everything at my previous
Man,
restaurant.
that's like a kitchen.
Yeah. And then that place was just horribly run. And the owner, one day I showed up for it was literally the week of my birthday. I think it was like 2 days before my birthday. It was October like 8th or something. And then I walked into work, and then my boss is just like, yeah, he's like, we're closed down. He's like, I can't give you your last paycheck. And it was like $1,000.
No way.
So 3 weeks before I actually got the notice that we were shutting down at the other restaurant,
Okay.
the old head chef walked into the kitchen and he's like looking around and he's like, Travis, can you come talk to me? So we go outside and he's like, I'm starting a new restaurant. He's like, do you want to come be a part of it? So I was just like, yeah. I was like, let's go do it. And then, so that restaurant shut down and everything. And then literally on October 17th, like a week later.
The chef was already at a new place?
That's when the new place opened up and everything.
Okay, and what was this?
That was the Saddle Market. And that,
Okay.
Yeah, that was when it was really cool because I got to start a kitchen from like the very ground up. So we were like building the menu and everything. Like
Man,
that,
I experienced that with Underdogs on
Oh,
Portage.
you worked at Underdogs?
Yeah.
I love Underdogs. Man, you know what's crazy is like that place is a sports bar. But it's actually the food is really good.
Man, it's quality.
Yeah,
it's definitely quality.
It's like very quality, and I actually got kicked out of Underdogs many times.
Man, it gets fucking. I get rowdy there.
Yeah,
like, it's
I
a
always
rowdy
used to
place.
dance on the stage and shit.
Oh yeah, classic.
And but yeah, and then so while I was at Saddle Market working with that chef and everything, it started out really good. But then the chef made the menu too complicated and everything.
Oh, so
then
it fucked up the function of the line.
Yeah, so the dining room held like probably 150 people, but he was designing a menu meant for like a restaurant with like 20 people. So like everything took a lot of time.
Yeah.
And I was working on saute, man, and it was one of the most stressful times of my life. Like
you had all burners taken at all times.
Man, every single burner at all times, and then I'd normally have like 8 pans stacked in the back with like stuff like either cooked or ready to cook.
Yeah, like the base ingredients in it, or it's like
Yeah. And then I had stuff in my ovens. I had stuff on the and man.
I would go crazy.
I loved it because it was just like. It was just like, oh man, I don't know how to explain the rush in a kitchen. Like it's like,
man, it's an adrenaline rush as well.
It's such an adrenaline because if you fuck up, all you can either do is get back on track or walk out. Like there's nothing else you can do. And then, so then like 4 months into the restaurant, the chef was just like losing his mind, and he just like lost it, and he just quit.
He realized like he was in way too deep. Yeah.
And not even too deep. He was just trying. What he expected from the restaurant was just not what the restaurant was going like.
What it was providing.
What it was meant for. And then, so then slowly every other cook started to quit because it was all cooks that he hired. So they're all like, "Oh, I gotta respect the chef, so I'm gonna quit." Slowly, all quit. So I was literally the last cook left. So I was working. I would show up at like 9 in the morning, and I would work till. If it was a weeknight, I'd work till 10 at night, and if it was a weeknight, I'd work till 2 in the morning.
Oh, shit.
And I was, like, only 17 at the time, so the person...
You're probably making, like, fat tips. Like,
yeah.
You were content.
For a good... for a 17-year-old, I was really good. But and all the servers were like, this guy should be the chef. But the owner of the restaurant was like, oh, he's only 17. Yeah, there's no way
he has to look like a chef.
There's no way he could be the chef. And then she tried hiring, like, 2 other chefs. That just completely shit the bed both times. And, like, I literally went out to him. I'm like, if this is going to happen, I'm like, I'm quitting. I'm like, and then...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then finally we had this meeting. And then she was like, yep, Travis is going to be the new head chef and everything. And I was just like...
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like... It was honestly amazing. Like, literally the youngest chef in Winnipeg. I think I was, like, 18... or something like that. Man, the weirdest thing I ever made was actually when I got fired from my first restaurant, the Prairie Ink, I was telling you about.
Yeah.
The special that I made that week, stay with me for a second. Do you know stuffed chicken breast? You worked in restaurants. You know what a stuffed chicken breast is. So, I stuffed a chicken breast with kale. So, I, like, butterfly the chicken breast, put, like, kale, apricot, brie, and then banana.
Oh.
Yeah. And then rolled it up.
Were they bananas or were they plantains?
We tried plantains, but then, man, that's so funny that you said that. We tried plantains.
And I know. I was an aspiring chef. I fucking...
Yeah. So we tried plantains, but the chef that went and bought the plantains bought them too ripe.
Oh.
So then it was like eating fucking the ripest of bananas that you could possibly even imagine.
Yeah, it was like...
Yeah.
Like stiff.
So then we got bananas and then we caramelized them.
Ooh.
Yeah, for like really low heat. Just kept on cooking
with
them
just
down.
butter?
Oil.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we let them cool down on a tray, and then we put it all on the butterfly chicken, rolled it up, and then made a It was a Di Serono vanilla bean almond cream sauce.
Interesting.
Yeah, man. It's all these.
Because Di Serono's nutty.
Yeah, so it's pretty much
like,
the almond. That's the
yeah.
almond, yeah. And the vanilla bean, and then a cream. So you're having banana.
Okay.
You're getting a lot of different flavors. You're getting banana.
Yeah, that's quite
vanilla
the,
bean, and what was the
man,
almond.
It's like sweet, savory, nutty, and then poultry.
Yeah, it was such a good mixture, man.
Interesting.
Like, oh man.
Well,
Oof.
man, you had me with the kale and the brie.
And man, yeah, that and the apricot as well. When you got those little bites of apricot. Yeah.
I was definitely a huge fan of brie with like a fresh pesto stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. I neglected pesto for a very long time as well.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like,
It was like I think I was a child and I was like, oh, pesto. That sounds fancy to me.
One of the signature dishes, like everybody has like a signature dish for their parent, and one of my signature dishes with my dad is just a shrimp pesto pasta.
Oh,
like it's just spaghettini,
yeah.
a lot of pesto, and little shrimps.
Yeah.
And I wasn't. It wasn't until I was probably like 12 or 13 when he made it for the first time for me, and I was like, "Where you been?"
Yeah.
You know, like, what do you see and want for like the future of the studio and like the space going on there?
So for the future of the studio, 10 years from now, I would like to see studios from all the way from Vancouver all the way to fucking Nova Scotia.
Okay, like under the same name and like,
all TravisT Entertainment.
Yeah.
And it's like it's all the exact same vibe when you walk in. It's like a clothing store, and like maybe not exactly the same layout, but it's all the same. It's all about supporting the culture of that city.
Okay.
Know
so
what I
it's
mean?
all like local material.
Local material,
stuff.
yeah. So if it's in BC, it's gonna be from artists and fashion designers from BC.
Yeah.
And every other city within that. You know what I mean? So
okay.
That's what my like number one goal for TravisT Entertainment is I would love to see it. I don't want to just have one studio in Winnipeg.
You want to see it on like a commercial business scale.
And not so much as a commercial like McDonald's. Like it's still like TravisT Entertainment. Every TravisT Entertainment you go to across the country, you know that you're going to get the best quality service that you can possibly get.
Okay.
But
like franchising it without having the big
franchise
vibe.
Yeah, so it's franchised out to only people that are like properly meant to have it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like only people that I trust to be running a store.
Like they would have to pass your like standards test.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
No, that's cool though. It's good having like such a big projection goal for something like that. And I could definitely see it. I mean, it's been done with other things. So.
Yeah. And it can all be done over the internet as well. Everything that we're doing, like and like all they have to do is like what my main thing is like someone in BC, they can be having the studio and like recording everything.
Yeah.
They can be recording BC artists and then sending everything to me to be actually doing the actual like
to get the final confirmation, the final mixing.
You know what I mean?
Like...
And if there needs to be anything done, then I can just do it. Like
okay. Oh, incoming.
It's my girlfriend. We'll get her into the call. We'll get her into the hello.
Oh. She's got to say what up to the podcast.
Hey. I'm on a podcast right now. Do you want to say hi to everybody? Wait, say hi?
Anyway.
Say hi.
You're on the WPG Clark podcast.
Okay, I have to go.
Okay, bye.
I love you.
Love you.
Shout out girlfriends.
Man, big shout out. Just aside the music space, then what else do we gotta look forward to with the future with you, man?
From the future from me, you can look forward to clothing. You're going to see clothing from me.
Okay.
Yeah, I love clothing. I am so happy to make clothing, and I want to make clothing that makes me happy. And you're going to see some very crazy clothing from me in the future, no matter what.
Who would you say are like fashion inspirations for you?
I hate all those like top designer brands like Louis Vuitton and all. Like I just like that like classy look, but it's like almost like a suit style.
Yeah.
But you're not like wearing a suit, like it's like a dressed up. Like I just like that like business look and everything like that.
Yeah.
But like not like, even though I'm dressed in like a hoodie and
It's like
everything.
semi-casual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that professional look. Yeah.
No, definitely.
So you can look forward to like fashion from me in the future. Eventually in the future, you're gonna start to see this from me in my new music videos. I want to start doing like cinematographic stuff, like movie type wise. So like
Okay.
even like you know how like they have like those rap movies like Get Rich or Die Trying,
Yeah.
8 Mile. I would love to do something like that.
Ooh,
Like,
that would be amazing.
the song I just showed you on my phone with the story behind it and everything like
Yeah.
that. I want to do like it's like a 3-minute long song, and then do like a 5-minute long skit along with it, which is just like all related to the song and everything like
Where
that.
it's like a mini like documentary kind of.
Like a
about-
mini movie
Yeah,
type
yeah.
thing. Yeah. Like I want it to be like all where like
where that comes into play.
they're
the
running
scenario.
they're all doing gangster stuff type
Yeah.
things, and then right at the skit is him getting shot and everything like
Ooh.
that. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
definitely a great idea.
Yeah. So I don't even want it to be like just music at all. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
so you can look forward to fashion, you can look forward to movie type stuff, like cinematography, you can look forward to a lot of things, 100%.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
As far as music, though, depending on when
new
exactly
music?
this comes out.
New music coming out. You already know. York music video coming out very soon. And that's going to be crazy.
It's a big one.
Yeah, that's
It's
a
a
big
big
one.
one.
It's a big one. York video coming out starring me, Kuzi, and King Mooks. Yeah, I actually got to... Nah, fuck it. Me, Kuzi, King Mooks. And then after that, we're going to be having... Me and King Mooks are going to have a song called Right Now, which is also going to be very big. And then after that, I'm going to be dropping the deluxe version of my Bottled Thoughts EP from last year.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Okay.
so if any of you have not listened to that, go and listen to the regular version of Bottled Thoughts, released a year ago. And then deluxe is coming out. That's probably going to be November-ish. So a little bit, whenever this podcast comes out, about a month from now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you got to plug yourself in, man. Where can people find you across like social media and other platforms?
Instagram, at TravisT Entertainment. And then Twitter, it's Who is TravisT. Honestly, beyond that, Facebook, that's only for family. So, Auntie Karen, you know where I'm at.
Hey,
You know where to
shout out.
find me. Yeah.
shout
Snapchat. I don't even know my Snapchat, but Instagram, mainly you're going to want to find me on there. TravisT Entertainment. I hope
Alright.
to find you all guys there.
And is there anybody you want to give some big shout outs to?
Shout outs to everybody in Lost Souls, Max Wins, DK, Peso, Kuzi, Lido, AMG Slick. Man, yo, give me 1 second.
Man, everybody in the crew.
Yeah.
Everybody in the crew.
Give me 1 second. Give me uno momentito, por favor. I got FPS Dre. Shout out FPS Dre.
Man, big shout out, Dre. We still
know
gotta
Dre?
we still gotta record that episode you
Yes.
flaked last time.
Dre gotta get in here.
Hey,
I already shouted out Peso. Peso, one of the best voices in the city. Josiah the Prophet. He
JTP.
will be taking us all home one day to the promised land because he is the prophet.
definitely.
QP Beats, the one and only. If you need a beat, just call for a QP. You know where to go.
Star.
Yeah. Rye Lewis, one of the most talented in the city. He's going to produce for Lil Baby one day.
Man,
Sandman.
Max doesn't have to tell you guys how I got away with this shit.
How did Rye get away with this? What shit?
Nobody knows.
What did he get away with? Sandman, shout out Sandman, very talented young man. Sean 2K, very much the same. CZ, or C's, very talented young man. YCB Drew, you know Drew from the Full.
Of course. Man, right around the corner.
Yeah.
He lives right around the corner.
You gotta, he should have came tonight then.
Yeah. Damn. Big shout out, Drew.
Nona, my business partner, he does the Nona apparel at the beginning of the studio. Not at the beginning, at the front of the studio. Nona, shout out to you, one of the smartest men I've ever met. Again, I said this last podcast. Miazwe, Neil Mooks, shout out to you guys. And beyond that, my girlfriend Courtney, love you. God, Satan, and then beyond that, I'm pretty good.
All right. Hell yeah. It's been a fucking great time having you. This is the fucking TravisT episode, WPG Clark podcast.
Been a
Thanks for
TravisT.
coming by. Peace.
Peace.